Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Marco. Nafisa. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Woke up feeling like I just might run for president. Even if there ain't no precedent. Switching up the messaging. I'm about to add a little estrogen. Buy my whip, buy myself. Pay my rent, buy myself. Only exes that I care about are all up in my chromosomes. I don't really need you. I'm Macaulay Culkin, home alone. Bad bitch, diamonds in my collarbone. Yeah, yeah. Buy my whip, buy myself. Pay my rent, buy myself. Sugar, spice, and I'm nice. Show me what you made of. Crazy, sexy, cool, baby, with or without makeup. Got nothing to prove, but I'ma show you how I do. Put me up in Magic City, bustin' hundreds by the bands, and I throw it like a girl. Throw it like a girl. Hanging out the 750, feeling bossy in my city, 'cause I run it like a girl. Run it like a girl. Work my femininity. I make these boys get on their knees. Now watch me do it, watch me do it. Look it, I'ma do it like a girl. Like a girl, like a girl. Shaka Khan through the fire like the kerosene. Lauryn Hill told me everything is everything. Serena Williams showed me I can win the Wimbledon. Put me on pedestal. Bet on me, bet I will. Sugar, spice, and I'm nice. Show me what you made of. Crazy, sexy, cool, baby, with or without makeup. Got nothing to prove, but I'ma show you how I do. Put me up in Magic City, bustin' hundreds by the bands, and I throw it like a girl. Throw it like a girl. Hanging out the 750, feeling bossy in my city, 'cause I run it like a girl. Run it like a girl. Work my femininity. I make these boys get on their knees. Now watch me do it, watch me do it. Look it, I'ma do it like a girl. Like a girl. Look, so if you fight like a girl, cry like a girl, do your thing, run the whole damn world. If you feel like a girl, then you real like a girl. Do your thing, run the whole damn world.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon, and welcome to the State of RHD. We have a lot of people on the call, which is really exciting. It's great to see so many of you joining us today. And we're glad you're here. So my name is Stacy Bunch Harrison. I'm the Director of Learning and Development, and I'll be facilitating the meeting today. We have a full list of topics and speakers lined up on our agenda, so I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So right now, I wanted to start by reading our 3 basic assumptions to support our values-based culture and to lay the foundation of this meeting. As I read through them, take a moment to reflect on them and to make an intention to practice them during our time together today. So our 3 basic assumptions are: people are of equal human worth, people are essentially good unless proven otherwise, there is no one right way to manage corporate issues well. Through our time today, we are going to have a variety of Q&A portions, so dedicated time slots for that. So I encourage you to send in your questions now or anytime throughout the meeting. And there's a couple different ways that you can do this. You can submit a question through using your voice, which you can see on the screen, and we'll make sure we put that in the chat. which is our anonymous suggestion box, or by typing your question into the chat on Zoom. We are going to have folks monitoring those particular boxes during the meeting, and when we get to our Q&A portion, we will be referencing those. So we are going to try to get our best to get through all of your questions today, but if we're not able to, we'll be sure to capture the remaining questions and respond to them following the meeting. All right. So I wanted to share a quick reminder to keep yourself on mute unless you're asking a question or presenting during the meeting today to help us manage some background noise. So I'm just going to quickly go over our agenda. We're going to have some opening remarks from Marco. We have some short presentations, one of which is the value of the month and an update from the Together We're Better grant. We'll then have our first Q&A portion. And then we spend some time in some deep dives. We'll hear from folks around Paylocity and the HRIS. We'll have an EHR update. And then we'll hear about some program updates from each of our service lines. So, and then we'll have a Q&A following those deep dives. We'll have a closing video that Mary has put together that highlights all kinds of great things that have happened. And then we'll have some closing remarks. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Marco for some opening remarks. And thank you for joining.
All right, I thought following up with following Lizzo was bad. Now I'm following Lizzo and Stacy. That's a tough bill for me here. So good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you all can hear me. Let me see, maybe some shaking of heads. Looks like everyone can hear me. Good. So as many of you know, I'm Marco Giordano. My pronouns are he, his, and him. I'm your CEO, and I'm very happy to be with you all today, and I'm looking forward to our time together. So as our ads and our music suggested, we are celebrating Women's History Month, acknowledging the amazing women who have changed history. I want to take a moment today to acknowledge the women of RHD. I don't think we do that enough, and the past and present women of RHD that have influenced our
I made it to the
our
place here,
work,
but I can't hear what anybody is.
and who we are today. So join me in this moment to take a moment and give a shout out to the amazing and inspirational women on your team or each other in chat. Did you all know that the majority of the executive team are women? And in this moment, I'd love to thank Alicia and Sandy, Stephanie and Linda, Baroness, Deanna, Emily, and Karen for their partnership and contribution to our story. So next week, we're going to acknowledge 3 years of working with COVID. And on May 11th, the federal public health emergency will end. While we don't know how this will impact local protocols and recommendations, it certainly will continue to move us forward along with the rest of the country in living with COVID. And have you heard, I hope you have, that we're going to a new stratosphere with Paylocity, our new human resource information system. Paylocity is going to enhance the technology we all have at our fingertips, advancing us forward as an organization. And did you also hear we were expanding crisis services in Louisiana, partnering with local law enforcement and other community stakeholders to respond more effectively in supporting individuals in mental health crisis, moving our system delivery, our service delivery forward and addressing the needs in our community. These are just a few items, some that you will hear more about today, that reflect the forward thinking, creativity, and the change that's happening here at RHD. It's an amazing and exciting time to be part of RHD. I hope you all would agree with me. I want to take this moment to also thank you all and everyone who has engaged in values discussions over the past couple of months using our values of the month. In January, we highlighted our foundational value of respect for the dignity and worth of every individual. And in February, we highlighted empowerment of groups. And this month, we are highlighting multi-level thinking. Empowerment of groups and multi-level thinking are like peanut butter and jelly. Together, they're better. It is within these values that each of us can share our voices, where our voices are welcomed, and how we acknowledge the benefit of hearing all of our voices towards achieving the best path forward. So as we move forward through this conversation today, and as we move forward during the exciting times at RHD, I challenge you all to participate in our culture, to use your voice, to embrace your responsibility, and to use your authority. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for moving RHD forward together. So before I turn it over to our short presentations, I have an opportunity to introduce a new segment to our State of RHD and welcome some of our new members to our community that would be important for you all to meet towards supporting the work we do together.
Oh, who are the people in your neighborhood? In your neighborhood, in your neighborhood. Say, who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day.
So let me take this opportunity to introduce a few folks to you that are newer to the organization. Rich, Darcel, Charlene, are you all there? Here we go. Is Charlene with us?
I'm not seeing Charlene's name. If she can tap in.
Maybe she had trouble joining us today. While we're waiting for Charlene to join us, Darcel, Rich, can you both introduce yourself? Oh, there she is. Hey, Charlene. So Darcel, why don't you start us off and introduce yourself?
Sure. Thank you so much, Marco. This is really fun. I wasn't expecting the Welcome to the Neighborhood song, so thanks. That's pretty cool. My name is Darcel Griffith. I am the new HR director here at RHD. With the HR's restructure, I'm overseeing the payroll function as well as the talent acquisition and retention services group and the HRBP employee relations team. And I've been here now over 90 days, so I'm official. So thank you for the opportunity to introduce myself.
You were official on day one, Darcel. No worries there. Charlene?
Hi, so my name is Charlene Crothers, and I am the Director of Nursing for RHD. I started in this role approximately 2 months ago in January, and I have been with RHD for over 5 years, but this is a new role for me. And working on the Health Hub, which we can talk about more down the road.
Thank you, Charlene. And last but not least, Rich.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rich Henderson, the new director of IT at RHD. Basically, we manage all hardware, networking, and communications. Also managing sorry to say it, the best team at RHD is in IT. But I'm glad to be here. Great to be here. Thanks.
Well, hopefully everyone can join me in welcoming both all Darcel, Rich, and Charlene to the RHD neighborhood. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hello to everyone. How are you? Can I get a thumbs up? Let me see your emojis. Everybody doing good? There you go. Great. So it's good to see some of my RHD loves. For those who don't know me, I am Nafisa Daniels. I am the Employee Resource Manager here at RHD, and I have had the pleasure of working for resources for 23 years now. And today I have the pleasure of doing a quick values discussion / activity with you all. I just want to say that as a member of the Values Rejuvenation Committee, I'm extremely excited to participate in this activity with you all. The values and the 3 basic assumptions are near and dear to me. They're not just words for me that hang on a wall or something that I do during my 9 to 5. They are how I conduct myself personally and professionally. Especially during difficult times and times of conflict. So today, the value of the month, as Marco said, is multi-level thinking. He referenced the PB&J sandwich. I love a good PB&J sandwich. And so this value at RHD promotes a win-win thinking, a process that encourages the expressions of many different viewpoints and discourages one-dimensional thinking. So we have 3 questions on the screen. How can our program department, RHD, improve in this value? How does multi-level thinking show up in your program or department? And how do you bring multi-level thinking to life? And we have some wonderful RHDers who are going to expound on these questions. First, I would like to go to, we're going to do it backwards. We're going to go to question 3, and I'd like to ask for our shared services representative, Marco Giordano.
How can we improve on how we live our value of multi-level thinking? What a great question. Each of us must lean into the creative chaos and the dynamic tension that our culture thrives on. When you are frustrated, concerned, or have feelings of not being included, respond with curiosity, with question. Question authority, not the person, but the concept. Each of us, through our experiences, has an opportunity to contribute to how we do what we do, while also embracing the direction of government and other external stakeholders.
Excellent. Thank you, Marco, for sharing that perspective. We definitely appreciate and value that. Next, I am going to call on our BHH representative, Jan Tarantino, Regional Director in New Orleans.
Hey, RHD. This is Jan Tarantino, and I'm a Regional Director in the BHH Division, National. I live in New Orleans and support the programs in Louisiana. Been with RHD 24 years, I'm proud to say. Nafisa asked me to respond to a question around multi-level thinking and how I make it come alive. Well, I can say to you that there's a few tips that I constantly use in my day-to-day, and those are asking for multiple perspectives, seeking out whose voice is missing, and making sure that they're going to join conversations, celebrating the differences that people have so that they feel trusted to share their input. All those things make a very creative but chaotic environment. But I do find that that is where the real work can happen. That together, you know, we are better if we're able to not put things in boxes of right or wrong and black and white, but to see that there's multiple ways that we can impact and have a solution to something. So I endorse people giving us the hard feedback because it makes the solution or the project better. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jan. Excellent. Very well said. Creative chaos, right? We all need it. It helps us make the work life better. We learn and grow from each other. And as our slogan says, together we're better, right? I encourage our viewers to drop your answers to the 3 questions in the chat, if you will. And then next, we're going to go to question 1, and our IDD representative is Catherine McPhail, Program Manager of St. Louis Day Program in St. Louis.
At Fine Line Studios, we bring multi-level thinking to life by not only asking our staff how they feel a problem should be solved, but also by asking our artists. Our staff find creative ways to inspire them every day by throwing a paint-filled sponge at a canvas, drawing to the beat of their favorite songs, and taking push-up breaks after each step. One of our artists loves making art, but often struggles with motivation or inspiration. Our staff helped him discover new ways of incorporating collage images, and he was able to finish 2 new pieces. There's no right way or wrong way to express yourself through art, and we work every day to make sure that all of our artists find the path that is best suited for their journey.
Excellent. Well said, Catherine. Look at that different perspective she put on it. Not only is it for us as co-workers and peers, but it's how we treat the individuals and include them, include the individuals that we provide service to. Thank you, Catherine, who is also a future graduate of our Leadership Development Program. And next, also answering question 1 is Bill Simpson from our healthcare division.
Hey, RHD, my name is Bill Simpson. I am the mind-body educator and integrative therapy practitioner, as well as the employee resource liaison, the EARL, for the Family Practice and Counseling Network, the health center here in Philadelphia. I've been with RHD for going on 8 years now, and I really appreciate the fact that it's a values-based organization. And the way I see multi-level thinking showing up here at the health center is for the simple fact that we are an integrative healthcare center. We have primary care, we have dental, outpatient behavioral health, and numerous shared services, including mind-body. All these minds coming together to offer the best possible care we can give our patients. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate that. Multi-level thinking, not only in how we communicate with each other, but in the services we provide. Excellent example. Shout out to FPCN. So thank you all for participating in this chat, in this values activity. We see multi-level thinking as a value that helps us learn from each other and grow, right? As I stated, together we're better, because it puts us in a position to be open if we provide that safe and open culture to each other. I'd like to say a special thank you to Marco, Jan, Catherine, and Bill for participating and accepting the call to action. And then I would like to implore and encourage and empower everyone on this call to take this activity back to your programs, home unit, and department, and try to do something similar in your smaller groups, right? And be active and participating in every value of the month that comes out, because the more we spread the values and talk about the values and the 3 basic assumptions, the more we are aligned with our culture, with the culture of RHD, and the more we function better as a well-oiled team. If you have any questions or you need support with having a healthy values discussion at your programs, please feel comfortable reaching out to Learning and Development or the Employee Resource Network. And with that being said, thank you guys for your time.
Thanks, Nafisa. And we're going to ask Nikisha to come on and share some where we are with the Together We Care grant. Give us an update on that.
Thank you, Stacy. Good afternoon, RHD. My name is Nikisha Burnett, and I'm the development manager on the fund development team. I'm excited to announce that we're now accepting applications for round 2 of the Together We Care grant. And thank you to all the programs who submitted applications for round 1. It was so great to learn about some of the things that the programs are doing across the organization. Some of the first round recipients were Adesha Village, La Casa, and also Stepping Stones. The deadline for round 2 is March 27th, and thank you to those who have already submitted applications. I saw some come through today. Please note that if you receive funding in the first round, you're not eligible to apply in round 2. Applications should be submitted to togetherwecaregrant@rhd.org. And if you need any assistance or have questions about the process, please feel free to reach out to me directly via email, because I'm happy to jump on a call and answer any questions. Thank you. If you have any questions right now, I can definitely answer.
Well, it's a perfect segue, Nikisha, because we are coming up on our first Q&A. So appreciate Nafisa and all of the Marco, Catherine, Bill, and Jan for sharing their thoughts on the multi-level thinking value. And so now we're at our portion where our Q&A portion. So again, there's a few different ways you can submit your questions. I believe folks have been putting some in the chat, so that is a way to submit your questions, or you can submit a question through your voice. So I am going to check in with David first and see if there's any questions in the chat, either for any of our speakers that have gone first or any other questions.
Hi, Stacy. We have a question, but it might be for Alicia and her team a little bit later, so I'm holding that.
That's good. Thanks, David.
So I'll keep monitoring.
Okay. How about you, Sarah? Any questions that have come into you?
I do have several questions. The first is specifically about our 403B program, which is for Alicia and her team. And that question is that in the last two State of RHDs, the 403B, the questions about 403B were asked, and we were told that it was on the table. Has there been any progress on that or new information that Alicia and your team could share with us?
So are we answering that now or are we answering that in the next segment? Okay, just wanted to make sure I'm clear. Correct. And I'm trying to see that question has come up. It is part of our strategic plan. We shared that for those who are not as aware, that is part of our strategic plan. Of course, we've done a few things like try to do one-time 403B contributions as a step to getting us in the direction of a more consistent ongoing 403B payment contribution to employees' funds. I think that I'm answering this, but I think we all know that so much of this is dependent on things like available funds and the condition of the corporation, which I can't really answer solely by myself. And I know that there are some other counterparts on my shared executive team that may want to jump in, but it is still something that is a goal for RHD. It is something that, while we recognize and we benchmark other employers to see what they're doing, and not everyone offers, but it is a very valuable benefit to employees, something we are definitely interested in getting a little more regular and consistent with. Again, I think that we've tried to take some steps to do some contribution and move us in that direction. Every employee is signed up for a 403B account and can contribute of their own funds. Absolutely. So we encourage employees to definitely enroll, to complete their enrollment by doing a deduction. There's all kinds of advantages and tax benefits. And RHD will continue to pursue being in a situation where we're able to make a regular, consistent, ongoing contribution to our employees' 403B plans. So we encourage, even though you don't get a match, there's still benefits to doing it, in addition to making sure that you do have some type of retirement savings that you've begun planning for, even in spite of not having the regular consistent match. There's also current tax advantages that you get. So some people choose to say, I'm not going to do it because there's not a match, but you kind of then lose out on helping to support your own self as well. But that is a choice. That definitely is a choice that every employee will get to make and have to weigh their own circumstances and make the decision on what's best for them. But I encourage all employees to complete their enrollment and begin making, even if it's a small deduction per pay, into your 403B, because it will have great long-term benefits that you can't even imagine today, even without the match. So. And I don't know if anybody else wanted to come off from the executive and speak to that. If not, we can move on.
Really quick, there's some follow-ups in the chat real quick, and it deals with this. So are we automatically enrolled in the 401B? I remember we signed up for something last year, but did not hear anything about that afterward. And along with that, it says, I don't contribute to the 401B right now because you don't match. If you match, I would contribute to match. Just a statement.
Yeah, I think that goes back to, I saw that, David, which is why I said what I was saying in terms of there are benefits even without the match for employees. All employees are set up with an account for our 403B. I want to make sure that I'm being clear. As a nonprofit organization, we offer a 403B. That's an IRS designation. That's what we're able to offer. And every employee is set up with an account that they can do voluntary deposits, deductions, payroll deductions into for their own retirement benefit. Again, I completely respect every employee making a choice for themselves of whether they contribute or not, based on a contribution or not. I do encourage every employee to consider making a contribution and deduction, even if there's not a match, simply because there are still current benefits today in terms of tax savings, as well as your long-term account savings. And I see that Deanna was saying that she wanted to come off and ditto that, but she's not able to remove herself from mute. So.
Let me see if I can work on that.
Okay. I hope that answered any questions about that. So.
Thanks, Alicia. We'll look for Deanna and allow her to get into the conversation as well. Thanks.
Deanna, you should be able to unmute.
Let her join the party.
I'm joined. I'm here. Yay. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for everything you do at RHD. I was simply going to reiterate some of what Alicia said. We are continuing to want to do the 403B contribution, to repeat that. It does depend on where our financials end towards the end of the year. I do, again, she encouraged it. I'm right behind her. Please plan for retirement. So whether that means you're going to participate in a 403B or a Roth IRA outside of RHD, but you know, $1 today, invested today, is worth a lot more than $1 you invest 10 years from now. So that $10 is better than nothing. And you'd be surprised how quickly it extrapolates into something meaningful that will help you retire. So in full support of everything Alicia said, appreciate everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the ladies as well.
Thanks, Deanna and Alicia. Okay, David, any other questions in the chat? I think I saw one related to the Together We Care grant.
Yes, they asked for the email for Nikisha, and Nikisha, could you share? I saw one program share what some of the money is gone towards for the first round.
So we haven't really shared how other programs have used the funding, because we want to like encourage creativity and innovation. I will say that the only restrictions are that you can't use to pay for staff wages or stipends for services. But again, if you have questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me and I can try to assist with the grant process.
There was something put in the chat from one of our art studios in St. Louis that said they were a recipient in the previous round, and they used the funding to buy Apple computers and iPads for the artists at the studios.
Right, Nikisha, and just a follow-up question. If your program received the grant in the first round, can we apply again now?
No, you're ineligible to apply in the second round.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry, I misspoke. It was our art studio in Nebraska.
Thanks, Bernie. And I see Natasha on the screen too. Like, yes, that's us.
That's all from me, Stacy.
Okay. Any other questions, or are we ready to move into our short presentations? We do have another set of Q&A time after our short presentation. So anything that didn't get answered, but it looks like we're good right now, and we'll move forward into our short presentation. Oh, sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
I have more questions, but we can wait to the next round. I just want it to be clear to folks that anything you're sending through your voice, I'm collecting and making a list. So we will get to them if we can, but for now, let's move on to the next portion, and then we'll go back to the questions at the end, like you said.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, folks.
So I'm back. Is this me, Stacy? Ready for me? Okay. Good afternoon, RHD. I am extremely excited. As you can see, I'm in the stratosphere here, and I am already my head up in the stars and the moon and the clouds, where we will all be shortly going regarding our new HRIS. So this next presentation, and I'm going to bring on two extremely competent and capable, talented young women in honor of Women's International Women's Day who are going to share this presentation. But before I introduce them, I wanted to share a few things. You guys, if you've not already, should have by now seen that we are implementing finally our new HRIS. You know, we've been on this journey. It has been a couple of years now since we started first looking at the systems and thought we had one last year, and we are now there with Paylocity. And so we are moving with velocity into the stratosphere through our Paylocity system. And I know there are some people who may not understand why. There's a few people who have asked me if they could, once this is all over, burn our Lawson system. We won't be able to do that. But just in case you were not here or you do not understand the reason for this new HRIS, and HRIS is our Human Resource Information System. Our current system, Lawson, is out of date. We've done as many upgrades and updates as we're able to. You guys know technology changes rapidly, and we're only able to update to a certain point before we have to then just get a new system. We've been with Lawson for over a decade now, and in technology timeframes, that's like almost a century to many people. And so it is time for us to identify a new system. And instead of just staying with Lawson, we wanted to go out to market and identify, was Lawson best able to meet our needs? Our new system, which will be a full-scale human resource information system. Lawson right now is our time and attendance, but real true HRIS systems allow you to do benefit enrollment. They allow you to do changes in your system yourself, employee profiles with your work history and your credential and qualifications be in there. This system will have a mobile application. Those of you who are out in the field, I've heard your frustrations. We've heard your frustrations about not being able to do your time on your devices. This system has that capability. The world of technology today in 2023 is significantly different than when we implemented Lawson over, again, a decade and a half ago. And so this system will offer all of those advantages and advances. It'll allow you to put time in real time, and hopefully that will allow us to help our employees avoid missing pay. So it's extremely important. If you have not, or you know of anyone who has not, or if you have any employees who have not attended a Paylocity training, that they get into training so they know how to enter their time. We know that there are about 800 employees remaining that have not done their Paylocity training yet. So we have 2 more trainings scheduled for tomorrow. That email went out today. And again, reminder that it will be visible in Cornerstone, but please, 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 if you're a supervisor, please make sure that your employees have attended their Paylocity training. They'll be able to access it on Cornerstone. All of those things are true. You'll see the timeline, but just wanted to help you all understand why we were going to this new system and what the advantages are, and make sure that you are getting into this system. You still have a few more weeks. We are 10 days away. That is a lot of time to be able to go in, play around in the system, get familiar with it, watch and view the trainings that are on Cornerstone, and get yourself caught up, or make sure all of your people are caught up. 10 days is a lot of time. So without further ado, I'm happy to introduce our 2 project managers who have been shepherding us through this process from day one, Kate Jenkins in BTS, as well as Charmaine Agudo, who's our HRIS manager for RHD. Please welcome them to the floor. Everybody give them a round of applause. They have been working so hard. I'm going to get out the way, and I'm going to turn this over to them in their capable hands. So hopefully they can come off mute. There you go.
Thank you, Lisa, for a wonderful introduction. Hello, everyone. My name is Charmaine Agudo. I am a co-project manager on this with Kate Jenkins, and we are extremely excited and happy to be speaking with you today. So what's happening? What's going on? So as Alicia stated, we are getting a new HRIS system called Paylocity. Communication has been sent out. We apologize, but at the same time, we want to ensure everybody sees what is happening. We want to make sure everybody gets those trainings. You will see emails coming through from the mailbox paylocity@rhd.org. And a big thank you in the forefront to our larger project management team within RHD, payroll, Bernice Conley and her team, Tanika Williams and her team, Kevin Gibbons and his team, BTS, you guys are all amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can't say enough. What else is happening? The functions that have been done in Lawson, entering your time, viewing benefits, viewing pay stubs, viewing W-2s, printing W-2s, 1095-Cs will all now be done in Paylocity. Any historical information will still be available in Lawson. However, anything new going forward from March 19th will be done in Paylocity. What else? We have other resources that are going to be available to you. Come May, we are going to have an active open enrollment in Paylocity. There is a communication sent out by the benefits department. More to come on that, as well to support all of our staff on how to do that in the system. We have scheduling that will be available for managers, timekeeping, PTO management. The reports that you might be comfortable and familiar with in SAP will now be available in Paylocity. You'll be able to go in, see your reports for your staff, who your staff is, the time they've submitted, overtime report. There's so much information in there. We have a team that's focused and dedicated on moving and making sure that those reports that are in SAP that relate to Lawson are available in Paylocity, let alone all of our staff have available self-service. Changes of address will be available in the system. Changes of your direct deposit, just to name a few, will also be available. Next up, key dates. What do I need to know? So much information. What matters the most? Well, March 19th is the date. That's the date. Let's stick that date there, right? March 19th. That is the day Lawson, everything in Lawson needs to be done in Paylocity. That is your first punch date. You're working, I punch in, I punch out. As Alicia stated, there is a mobile app. You can go ahead and download. There was a communication that was sent where we can go ahead and give you, you can go ahead and read through the guide on how to download, how to access on your mobile app, as well on your desktop. Next up, March 20th. So we're in that transition period. We're moving from Lawson to Paylocity. So we still have that previous time card that needs to be submitted. So on the 20th, staff needs to enter their time card. And on Tuesday, the 21st, supervisors, time approvers need to approve that time. But everyone, again, needs to submit for that new week, March 19th, in Paylocity. As of March 22nd, Lawson will not be available to staff. Again, everything will be done in Paylocity outside of your historical information that you need access to, such as your pay stubs, previous W-2s, and your 1095-Cs. The last pay that you will receive from Lawson is that March 24th pay. And then the first pay you'll receive in Paylocity is that April 6th pay. Now, again, open enrollment. Next month in May, after April, we're going to have that open enrollment trainings, communication sent out for everyone on how to access and enroll in your benefits.
Hi, everybody. I'm Kate Jenkins, Director of Project Management and Co-Project Manager with Charmaine. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about exploring our new Paylocity Galaxy. We're so excited. As of March 7th, all staff will have received access to Paylocity. While it is not required that you're putting time into the system until March 19th when we go live, we still strongly encourage you to make sure you can log in, explore, practice what you learned in training. Make sure that if you're hourly, you know how to punch in and out, submit punch corrections. If you're a salary person, make sure you know where to go to get your timesheet and know how to put your time into your timesheet. And for all staff, know how to submit your PTO request. Just make sure you're reviewing that information. And that's one of the reasons we really wanted to open the system early so that staff had a chance to explore and play around. So while you're in there, please remember, this is our live system. So while you're testing your time entry, please do not enter time beyond March 18th, right? Because anything March 19th forward will count as actual time worked. So, when you're doing that, please just keep that in mind. Additionally, all test data that anybody is entering for dates prior to March 18th will be deleted prior to our go live date, which is March 19th. Any changes that are put into the system in terms of if people are playing around testing how they can update their demographic information, their address, their direct deposit, that is all going to get deleted prior to go live. And then if you see something that still needs to be changed, you can go ahead, go back in there and update it. Additionally, the process for making sure Paylocity matches with Lawson is ongoing. So that is still in process. So there may be things that you see in Paylocity that do not match in Lawson. Just know that we are continuing to update that information. So anything that, that may have changed for you recently in terms of your demographic information, your reporting structure, your PTO or pay information, that may not be in there yet. And we are continuing to work on getting everything in there and keeping the two systems in sync. So I want to talk a little bit about how you can access Paylocity. As I stated, as of March 7th, everybody was given access to the system. For Paylocity, we will be using single sign-on. So what that means is there is a chiclet that is available on your Okta homepage, rhd.okta.com. You will see that Paylocity chiclet there on the right-hand side. There's a picture. And then there's two different ways you can log into Paylocity. There is the ability to log in via a laptop or desktop. And as you can see, that's our landing page there on the screen. And then in addition to that, you can also use the mobile app that Charmaine mentioned earlier. You can download that from your Apple Store, Google Play Store, whatever type of device you have, download it from the App Store and able to log in using single sign-on. So you have to select the use single sign-on option. And we did provide job aid around how to log in using either method. I want to talk a little bit about what staff can expect in terms of support and the resources you have available to you now and then once we're live. So one of the things that we're excited about that we're putting in place is open support sessions for employees. We want to hear from you, hear your feedback, understand how we can best support you. Please, please, please strongly encourage you after you've done your training to register. Those dates and times are up here on the screen. So we have additional session. We just had our first session yesterday, and we have additional sessions coming up the week of the 13th, on the 13th, 16th, and 17th. So we hope to see you there. In addition to that, we also have created a Paylocity page on MyRHD. Kudos to my folks on the BTS team for getting that built out for us so quickly. Appreciate you. That's where you will be able to find a Paylocity FAQ. We've put a good bit out there already, and we're going to continue to build upon that. We took all the questions from training, and we're using that to build out our FAQ so that we're getting, those responses back to everybody as quickly as we can. And that page will also include other information for all staff, supervisors, and champions related to user guides, information you learned in your training, as well as information about the open support session. So encourage everybody to check it out. The URL is there, or you can search Paylocity on your MyRHD page.
All right, what is next? Let's practice in Paylocity. Email has been sent out. The email that was sent out today reminding that there are 2 additional employee trainings that are occurring tomorrow also has attachments and information for you to log in to Paylocity now and play around. You can't break anything, so don't worry. But like Kate stated, please do not enter time ahead of the 18th, as that will affect our live system. Next up, download that Paylocity app. There is a handout that is attached to that email that shows you a step-by-step guide how to access that app, and it has our company code on it. Next up, you remember you went to this training, but you can't remember something. What do? Cornerstone. Let's go to Cornerstone. Cornerstone will have recordings available for supervisors and employees. You can pause, play, take notes at your pace. There, like I stated, there is a live session tomorrow, but if a recording is easier for you, those will be available on Cornerstone, and we will send that communication out to all staff. Next up, the support sessions. Please attend them. That is an opportunity for you as an open forum. We want to thank Stacy and Julian from our learning and development as they are leading those, and our project team members are also there to answer questions. Last but not least, Town Hall next Wednesday. Come on and join us. Ask questions, get in the system. This is your space to come and talk to us. Look at the system. What's confusing? What do you want to know? We're providing information as well, and we really want to encourage employees to get in that system and attend this town hall with us.
Thanks, Kate and Charmaine. We are now for all that information, and we've got lots of questions that came in that we'll save for the Q&A portion. We're now going to move to MyAvatar EHR.
Hi, everyone. I'm Linda Donovan. I'm the Chief Program Officer for Behavioral Health and Housing, and I'm going to share some updates and thoughts today about our EHR and our progress with that. Before we even get started, I want to connect it to our mission and our shared goal of trying to reach and support as many lives as possible in a values-based and quality service delivery. No matter what service line you're in, that is our shared goal. And the EHR is an important tool for us to reach that goal. I'm also going to be introducing some people that are an important part of the NetSmart implementation. And while we're going to talk about bringing in additional resources to make our project successful here, I want to recognize that it is everybody is the team, the EHR implementation. Everybody at RHD is on the team together trying to make this happen. So our first slide here about what it is and isn't. We just heard great information around Paylocity, or HRIS system. And though it shares a couple letters, the EHR is the electronic health record. So it's perfect timing that we just got that great information about Paylocity and our HRIS. So the EHR for us is our software that is going to provide us with a comprehensive view of a patient's care, our client's care, the individuals we support care, from intake to discharge. We have quite a while back selected NetSmart, MyAvatar product, as our EHR, and the implementation began in 2015. We are relaunching that. We also recognize that some programs have a different EHR. Some are still on paper, and some are already in NetSmart. Our goal is that all programs eventually are using NetSmart, and that we will use that together and be able to really reap the benefits of having everybody in one system. Okay, next slide. Okay, so the vision for our rollout is the implementation and sustained use. You'll also hear the word optimization. Not only are we using it, but really getting the most that we can from the system, the greatest benefit that we can. And we want to meet the programmatic as well as administrative needs of RHD, while ensuring quality outcomes for the RHD community. I want to pause for a minute and introduce Bernie Glavin, the EVP for IDD, to share some thoughts on the rollout. Bernie?
Thanks, Linda. So in the IDD service line, we're excited, probably a little bit anxious also, but we're excited about the EHR rollout. It came up in a meeting with our leadership yesterday. We understand that we'll be starting at many different points right now across our service line, because like Linda said earlier, some of us are using part of it, some of us are using state mandated EHRs. So there's still some work to do, but we're looking forward to it. The biggest thing that has us excited is we were given the opportunity to meet with NetSmart a couple months ago. We had staff at all different levels from all of our different kinds of programs, and we gave significant input into how the EHR could help us, what we need from it. And I have a real life example that I know I am personally very excited about. A couple weeks ago, one of our funders reached out to us and they wanted to do a routine look behind. The routine look behind asked us to pull 91 service notes from multiple individuals over the last 2 to 2.5 years. It took a couple of our staff days to do that. You know, my great EHR dream is that when this is fully functional for the IDD service line, that couple days would go down to a couple minutes, maybe an hour. So we are on board. We're excited about the resources and looking forward to the training that's coming.
All right, thanks so much, Bernie. So talking about what's new, and if you have come to one of these meetings or probably any of the EHR meetings, we have been talking about making the EHR our #1 priority. That is not to be confused with our mission, but that is our #1 sort of working priority to get this established as a tool to provide quality service. So we've hired a consultant, which you'll hear about in a minute, and put additional resources toward the EHR project. We completed an OPA process at the end of September. The executive team, the senior leadership reviewed that very detailed plan. We have hired NetSmart application management services and advisory services to assist us in this rollout. And we have established and expanded the optimization team. I do want to take a minute right now to introduce Janice Moore, the project manager for our EHR rollout. Janice?
Hi, thank you, Linda. Hi, and good afternoon. I'm Janice Moore. I'm one of the project managers on the MyAvatar implementation team. I've already worked with many of you in your program, so you may already be familiar with me and the implementation process. It'll be, pardon me, it'll be my job to ensure our implementations are completed successfully, on time, and to quality standards of RHD. In the end, you'll have the tools and the support you'll need to be successful in MyAvatar, and that's our goal. I look forward to working with you, and I'm really excited to make this project a success. Thank you, Linda.
Thanks so much, Janice. And, those who have worked with her have really seen the impact that Janice has made already, keeping us organized, keeping us focused. So thanks so much, Janice, for being able to stop by here today. And then next up, I want to introduce Danielle Ross, the Vice President and GM of NetSmart, and she's going to share some important updates and plans for our future.
Very good. Well, thank you, Linda. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Yes, somebody, thank you. Appreciate it. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. Number one, to get a chance to participate in this meeting because I get to travel all over the U.S. and work with organizations, but I got to tell you, I haven't had one that has started their meeting by playing Lizzo. So I will say kudos. Marco has given me the thumbs up. I loved it. I actually messaged my team. I just came back from a women's leadership retreat last week. I'm like, guys, RHD has it going on today. So I'm excited to be a part of this group. I did get the privilege of actually leading the operational process analysis. That's what OPA stands for, by the way. When you see that kind of in there, and I know there was a chat item that's there, which was really me looking. I've had a lot of experience in doing this. I have worked in many different clinical and operational and leadership roles in organizations similar to RHD. And again, I spend most of my time working and still in that capacity, even in my role with NetSmart. I'm very passionate about making sure that technology and our people and our processes are actually aligned in a way that makes sense. And one of the things that I've really challenged with your leadership team for them to think about as they prioritize really investing in making sure that they operationalize the use of the EHR system is viewing it from the right lens. An EHR system, an electronic health record system, most people think about it as just a database. It's just a place that we put data and it does some billing. And I want to broaden your thinking as we go through this adventure together, that it's not just a database. That EHR system is a member of your service delivery team. As a matter of fact, it has more knowledge about the individuals that you serve than any one member of your service delivery or treatment teams that you have now. And we need to leverage it as a member of our service delivery teams. In addition to that, the EHR is also a member of our operational team. It actually facilitates doing things like billing and posting payments and all the things that are very important for your financial picture and to make sure that you get properly reimbursed for the hard work and services that you do. It's also a mechanism to prove your compliance and to be able to show your regulatory boards as well as your creditors and all of your licensing agents that you're doing the things that you said that you were going to do. It also helps you deal with federal mandates for having electronic records and the CARES Act and all of these different things that it's there. In addition to that, it's also a very powerful tool to help your leadership team understand the demands of the individuals that are seeking services and the needs of those individuals and what the outcomes of those individuals are when we apply different practices and treatment in those particular circumstances to those populations. So as we go through this process, one of the things that I really challenging the leadership of the agency, and you heard Bernie talk about his excitement, I know Linda is, and others that are there, is to really don't think of this as a technology product. Think of it as a member of your team that happens to be leveraging a technology tool in order to do a job for your team. And so we're going to be approaching this from two different angles. One is optimization, and you heard Linda say that word. Optimization is really taking something that is already in place and enhancing it to the point so that it becomes a better tool for you to use in the day-to-day. And one of the challenges that I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you, we're not shooting for perfection here, we're shooting for progress. So everybody's going to have to get on board that perfection is not something that we're ever going to obtain. I would love to just say the word and somehow my computer would read my mind and all of a sudden know everything that I wanted it to say. But that's not the reality, but we are pursuing progress. And with that, you guys talked about your value of the month as being multi-level thinking. You're going to need that skill. You're going to need that value as we go throughout this process because there's going to be some purposeful disruption created in the day-to-day in order to get to this balance of what is the best thing to do from a technology standpoint to create an outstanding client experience, to ensure that the staff and user experience is something that's an efficient and effective one, but also to create an opportunity to make sure that you can demonstrate your compliance, regulatory requirements, and meet your business needs. And we got to balance all three of those things. And some things that we may introduce as change is really geared towards, hey, let's try to make this as fast and as efficient for staff. And instead of them having to put the same data in 50 different times, let's have them put it in one time and then have it carry to other places. Other times, what we're changing is not for staff. It's not for an efficiency gain for staff. It's for the organization to be able to meet an organizational need that currently is requiring a significant amount of effort, but it's not necessarily going to be something that we can point back to and say, oh, that saved this particular group 5 minutes of time, but it potentially saved a larger group of people a significant amount of time when they're trying to pull all that stuff together. Bernie just gave a great example of that when just talking about even responding to regulatory agencies. So you guys may not get really excited over that, but the people who do that work on a day-to-day basis, they get really excited about that. So this multi-level thinking is going to be really important to the overall approach to this project. And we're doing it from two different angles. One is optimization and enhancement and ongoing performance improvement or process improvement specific to the parts of your organization that already have a foot in the Avatar product, to expand how they're using it, to align the right process from a clinical service delivery to the right feature function within the actual EHR, so that those things marry well together to create an efficiency, but also to create a good experience. The secondary thing we're doing is also looking at the groups that maybe are not even a toe into the system right now, and we need to get them there and having a separate team work with them, because that requires a different strategy than optimization and bringing them in already at an optimized level. So we're taking a two-prong approach with two different teams of resources coupled with resources from RHD to help approach this. It is a 14-month project. That's what it's slated to be. We will not get necessarily everybody's wish list item, because one of the things, and Marco and Linda can attribute to this, one of the things I really challenge them is let's not value individual preferences over organizational gains and wins. So there may be some things that you might just really be very important to you personally. All of that is stuff that, yes, it is important. We want to hear it. We want you challenging status quo. But ultimately, we're trying to implement change and optimization that's going to be for the greater good and balance client experience, user experience, and organizational needs. So as we go throughout this process, one of the things that your agency leadership has actually communicated to me is their commitment to the things that I'm saying are, hey, these are the essential things beyond just technology. You've got to think about how do we actually make sure that we prepare the staff to use what we've put in place. So they've made a commitment towards role-based training to make sure that the training that you receive when we start rolling this stuff out is specific to you and your role and what you need to do and how you need to do it. We'll be approaching how we optimize the system with an idea of a nurse does different things than a case manager does. And they can't view the system the same way because they have different needs. And so we'll be approaching the system that way. The same way IDD residential is different than IDD employment and vocational. So we have to approach it in a little bit of a different way, but we can also have standardization so that the organizational needs are met as well. So that win-win across the board is what we're trying to get. But your leadership has committed to me that they are all in and that they are going to do what I know works best, not just me personally, but we've seen evidence of it with other organizations as they have a healthy culture. You already have a healthy work culture. You have the foundation in place to do this. And so that they're going to commit to communicating to you, to keeping you in the loop, at least on a minimum. My requirement is they have to communicate progress at least minimum of monthly, if not more often, so that you know what's happening, when it's happening, and how it's happening. Not everything is going to be stuff that you're going to immediately hear and get really, really excited about. Stuff that the billing team gets excited about, the clinical team may not be very excited about. So, but we'll do our best to keep you in the loop to make sure that you have steady communication about what's happening, what is the progress being made, and how are we moving forward, and honestly, when it's coming to you and when it's hitting your way, which is what most people care about is, hey, when does this impact me? And so that is our goal, is as we go through this to make sure that we are openly communicating, transparently communicating, but also setting realistic expectations. I'm not promising you the moon, the star, the sun, the sky, all of those things. I'm not even promising you perfection, but I am promising progress. So that is what our commitment is as we kind of go through this. And we want to make sure that we're diligent in doing that. And I really appreciate, Linda, I know I went over time, but I really appreciate the opportunity to get to personally speak to the RHD staff on this.
Thank you so much, Danielle. We are all in, and we also recognize it can be complicated. We're starting in very different places, but we feel like we are ready, we are prepared, we have the help, and that we will get there. So thank you very much for that. Okay, back to maybe Sarah, Mary?
No, guess what? It's
Stacey.
you, Bernie. It's
Okay.
you, Bernie, and Emily. So thank you, Danielle, Linda, and Bernie for the updates on the EHR. And now you guys are going to be able to provide some updates on programs in your service line.
Okay, looks like IDDs first, so I will jump in. There are, I guess I'll start with my apologies. There were more successes than I could fit in my 5 minutes that I got allotted. So we'll use the others at some other group meetings, okay? I want to highlight a couple things. CCW, our studio in the Philadelphia area, had a very successful outsider art show this weekend in the Metropolitan Art Pavilion in New York City. Life Sharing has an individual receiving an award for self-advocacy with the ARC of Lehigh and Northampton County. There's a banquet coming up in a couple of weeks where they'll get that award. Growth has been awarded a grant and has taken their whole team to the aquarium. They're also have a large emphasis on employment services. They've got 4 staff scheduled to become certified employment specialists. I think it really shows the focus of not being stagnant, both in the outings and getting out into the community and looking for grants to help us have access to stuff, and in how important employment is to folks. In Northeast PA, folks have started a mutual case consultant that involves growth, which is our day setting, not a setting, totally community-based, and our residential settings. The idea is to try to get everybody in the person's life integrated into the services that we're doing for folks. I'm going to skip the Funiac Springs because I want to end with that one. Okay. I'm going to go down to one of the artists that Imagine That in Kansas City, Vaughn, placed third in the DD division of the MMHF Creativity Showcase. I had the opportunity in December to go out and visit our art studios in the Midwest. The artwork is just absolutely amazing, especially for those of us that are old like me and remember the old-fashioned day settings where folks were doing very rote things. The creativity is amazing. It's a great segue to South Dakota, where we had our Set the Night on Fire prom, a successful celebration, fundraiser, and promotion of RHD, all rolled into one. I want to go back to the Funiac Springs. For those of you that don't know it, they do a great job of staying under the radar on a regular basis. They had their 25th anniversary celebration on February 10, 2023. There were a handful of us. Sandy Cox Scales was able to join. Darlene from marketing and communication was able to join. We had several people go with us. Of course, Renee Gunter. I know I'm forgetting someone, so my apologies. They had a celebration that was just amazing, and I'll get to some more details, but I wanted to highlight of the folks that we're providing services to in Florida. 6 of the folks have been getting services from RHD between 10 and 20 years. In addition to those 6, we've got 8 more people that have been with RHD over 20 years. 14 people with over 10 years, that's an amazing amount of continuity of care and speaks to the service that folks there give. The mayor of the Funiac Springs, while we were there, signed a proclamation declaring February 2023 as a month to celebrate RHD and to prove together we're better. Just another moment or two, and then I will turn it over. The setting was amazing. For all the men, they had either suits or tuxes. The women had prom dresses, or what I would call mother of the bride dresses. It was a very gala affair. The 2 things that made the biggest impact on me, though, is one, when you walked into the facility, and it was a banquet hall, all around on the walls, all around the perimeter of the building was a picture board, which each of the individual which showed pictures of the folks over the last several years they've been with RHDs, noting some outings, noting some specific accomplishments, the amount of time and energy, and more importantly, thought process and caring that went into it were amazing. Okay. There were the individuals, their families, folks from the community were all there. It was one of those things that I wish we could have taken everybody to, because at the end of the night when we left, Sandy and I stopped as we stepped outside the door and said, you know what? This is why we do this. That's it for me.
So Bernie, that was amazing. Absolutely amazing. The work that's going on in IDD across all of our states. It just made me think of, this is why I love RHD, everything that you just described. So thank you for sharing that.
Linda, can I jump in? I just got
Of course you can. Go ahead.
So, Sandy and Sandra are the co-directors there, and they have been there almost since the inception of the program. If you talk with them, they do not have individuals, they have family members. That's who they are helping.
Love it. All right, thanks, Bern. So over to behavioral health and housing. We wanted to talk about some themes, what different groups throughout the service line are doing, looking at trying to build our clinical skills throughout programs. There was a large group of programs that went through an extensive DBT 12-week training. We're looking to add to our creative clinical resources. We've established smart sensory rooms in many of our programs and have a plan. It's actually more than that. 4 programs I had on this slide and it was updated. There's several more that are planned in 2023. We are really looking with our partners in IDD around creating co-occurring supports to serve people that are co-occurring and really looking at creative ways to do that. And then program expansion and new development that is tied to and in support of our strategic plan and mission. The other thing, just wherever we can, we are looking to just promote and create a culture of continuous learning and sharing with each other, so that when we learn something, we don't have to relearn that in another state or another time a year from now, but that we're really sharing that with each other. So a couple of programs that I wanted to highlight, one in, for each of the service line directors. In the Philadelphia service line, we are welcoming a new program that had been run by another provider. It is our Green Street program, and they are anticipating moving into a new site in April. So that was, we are very excited about that the DBH called us up and said, would you be able to take over this program? And we said, absolutely, it fits in with our mission, and we are very happy to do that. So you'll be hearing more about the Green Street program coming up soon. In the Pennsylvania service line, we have a START program, which is really focused on co-occurring out in Western PA. And that is clinical resources that will be in service of IDD participants. In our DNA service line, we have our Bucks Halfway House and Women's Space Philadelphia expansions coming up in the next month or two. And then in our national service line, we have a new mobile crisis intervention unit. And Sean Randall was our service line director, and Jan Tarantino, who you saw earlier in our values discussion, were able to send me this picture. So this is amazing to me. This is the first time that I've known of, and I've been here quite a long time, with the help of Baroness Martin and Darlene Blevins, really working with down in Louisiana for our new program there, a billboard. This is an RHD billboard on the side of the road, advertising our mobile crisis intervention unit, which you may have heard of it as alternative dispatch. It was renamed, it hasn't even started yet, but had been renamed the mobile crisis intervention unit. So I am so proud of that. I know the group in Louisiana is so proud of that, and we really just wanted to take a minute and share that with you. So that's it for us today, and pass it over to Emily.
Thanks, Linda and Bernie. That billboard is pretty phenomenal, by the way. So I am Emily. I am from FPCN. RHD is Federally Qualified Health Centers in Philadelphia. So I'm going to give you an update on some of our sites. I am so jazzed to say that we are back fully at Health Annex. Health Annex is our site in Southwest Philly at 61st and Woodland. There was significant damage to the site from the uprisings from George Floyd's murder, and significant construction needed to happen to make that site ready. And as of December, we are fully back: dental, primary care, outpatient behavioral health, integrated behavioral health. So we are there to serve you and the consumers in the area. So just give us a call. We are also open in ShopRite. So ShopRite on Island Avenue, our now site, Nourish Our Wellness. We are open there Tuesdays and Thursdays right now. It is completely walk-in convenient care. So if consumers have needs, if new employees need new physicals, we are there for you. So please come on by to Island Avenue. And we've been talking about the birth center for a long time, and we keep moving. So this is actually the future site of the birth center, and us holding a check for $1 million towards the construction. So we're moving, and we'll keep you updated on that progress. And lastly, the WOW Mobile, it's going to be rolling in April. So that is actually what it's going to look like. So if you in the Philly area have consumers that you think would benefit for us to roll up to a program, please reach out. We are happy to start talking about that.
Such amazing, great work happening everywhere. Thank you, everyone who contributed to that, because even though Linda, Emily, and Bernie were sharing all those accomplishments, there's so much amazing stuff that is happening. So thank you for sharing it, and thank you to all that have contributed to all those amazing things that are happening across the organization. So we're at our second Q&A, and I know that folks have been putting in the chat all kinds of things, right? So questions from some of the presentations that you've heard, but also lots of just kudos and congratulations to all the great work that they were hearing in the presentation. So I am going to check in with Sarah and David. I'm going to start with you, David, because I know that there were questions that came in through the chat. I
Yeah.
also know that answers were put in the chat for some of those questions. So maybe we can go through those.
Yeah, so we got a lot of answers. Thank you, Alicia, and all those who are answering in real time. But I just want to check in with Sarah. If your voice, did you have something that's pressing? I know we didn't get to you last time.
I do have some questions about Paylocity
There we go.
that I can ask now. I know there's also a lot in the chat too. Someone asked if I have vacation time. I know I'll need to take off in April. Can I enter that into Paylocity now?
So Sarah, I can answer that one. So for application time in April, you can start for that on March 19th. Anything that you may have pre-entered in Lawson, remember, we're not bringing it over. So any time off needs to go into Paylocity starting March 19th forward. And I will also remind everybody, you can only submit PTO requests in Paylocity for the PTO time that you have available. So just keep that in mind and definitely encourage staff to work with their supervisors and their teams to understand how you're going to continue to manage time off requests amongst the team outside of Paylocity. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. I actually have one more question. Someone's asking for contact information to ask questions. I know there's an email address. Maybe you could put that in the chat again. This person is also asking if there's a phone number that someone can call to ask questions.
Sure. So the email is paylocity@rhd.org. Charmaine just put that in the chat. There's no specific phone number at this time. There will be a dedicated support line once we go live on the 19th that we'll share more information about next week. But I would say send those questions or concerns over, and if it requires a conversation, we can figure that out.
Great. I actually have one more question that's probably more appropriate for Marco or someone on the executive team. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice. I'm a little sick. And then David, I can turn it over to you. So
No
the
problem.
question is, this year RHD is implementing a brand new timekeeping system with an entirely new process, effective 3/19, a brand new electronic workflow system effective in July, and then integrating a separate new hire process through the end of the year. Why are the executives also implementing a new HR process at the same time? So I guess, you know, folks are sort of wondering, like, there's a lot going on and you know, what are some of the, what's the thinking from the executive team on how these processes are all going to work together and that kind of thing?
Thanks, Sarah. I'll respond, and I would ask any other member of the executive team to join me. First, I want to thank whoever asked the question for the question. It is a great question and important one for us to talk through. So whoever submitted it, thank you. You know, ideally, we would not be asking the organization to lift two enterprise-wide solutions at the same time. But as you heard in today's conversation, the EHR has been in front of us and is critical to, in many different ways, for us to move forward strategically and operationally, as well as the new HRIS system. So we are, you know, the easy answer, although maybe not an answer that is enough for the community, is, you know, we see both of these as critical to critical in this moment to accomplish our strategic and operational goals. What I'm hopeful that folks are hearing is that we hear you and that these are two significant lifts, and what we are very focused on and committed to is ensuring that we have the resources to effectively implement both solutions during the next 12, 14, X number of months. So I would ask folks to continue to share your voice around this, share your thoughts with your leadership, So that way we can also along the way ensure that we are supporting with resources or other tools the needs effectively. So I'll open it up to anybody else on the team that wants to share some thoughts. And if that did not answer the question, open to some follow-up. It looks like I answered it pretty well.
I think that's telling you that you answered it very well, Marco. David, I'll pass it over to you if there's anything from the chat. I have a couple more questions, but want to make sure we're getting both.
No problem. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. I was told I was out of the office. This is Paylocity. For the Paylocity training, I could access a recording, but I've not heard back. What should I do? So I guess they're referencing a recording. They missed the training or possibly will miss the next training. Where is the recording and how could they access that? Charmaine or?
Thanks, David.
Mhm.
Thank you for that question. So the employee recording is not yet available. The supervisor recording has been made available. As soon as that employee recording has been edited and uploaded, we will share communication out to the organization around it. Again, we do have 2 additional trainings that are going to be held tomorrow.
Shar, can I jump in? I'm stepping outside of my facilitation hat. I think we really want people to attend the live training. It's an opportunity. Yes, it's being recorded, but there is an opportunity to ask questions, to see the system. We just want to get people into those as much as possible. So once those are over, we will put it on Cornerstone and make it available.
All right, we have another question. Most of them are about Paylocity, Charmaine and Kate, and possibly Alicia too. It says, what happens if someone can't get the training? What happens? Will they get paid? I have another quick one. Alicia, if we have started to find some glitches in Paylocity, who do we send to? And I'll move on to the next, Charmaine or Kate or Alicia.
I'm sorry, David, if you could repeat that first. And on my end, you broke up a little bit.
Okay. What happens if someone misses the training? How will they get paid? And if we started to find glitches in the app already, who do we send it to? Then we can move on.
Thank you. So if you missed a training, again, and supervisors too, so this is all RHD, and we're asking everybody, hey, peer, hey, coworker, hey, friend, hey, did you take this training? Hey, did you know this email came out? So it really is a community. It really is for all of us to support each other and be there for one another. So we really, really want to keep those conversations going and ensure that does not happen. So if you have not attended a training, if you have staff that have not attended a training, there was a communication in the chat that went through. How do I know if my employees took the training? You can actually see that on the dashboard in Cornerstone. And if you need assistance, please email RHD Cornerstone at rhd.org, and they'll be able to help with that. First part. Second part is if there's technical issues, please email that Paylocity box. I see some people putting in there, I've emailed, I have not responded. Please remember, our organization is large. We are going to answer everybody. This is a big lift for all of us. We are working with various departments, outside parties to help and ensure to make this implementation as smooth as possible for everybody. So just be a little patient with us. We will address your questions and concerns.
Thank you so much, Charmaine. And just a follow up to that, it says, what is the date that PaylocityRHD.org is live? And you're saying it's live already, and we just have to wait to get responses.
Paylocity@rhd.org is live, so feel free to email that box. Yes, and we will also have additional resources such as my RHD, our Paylocity page. It will have all of those documents such as employee documents, supervisor speaking points, guides, scripts. How do I enter my time? How do I put PTO time in? And that MyHD page also has additional resources for all of our staff.
All right. Will there be a training out in Cornerstone on how to do our benefits before May 1st in Paylocity? Were you able to hear that, Charmaine?
Yes, thanks, David. So yes, we are going to be partnering with our benefits team to go ahead and get a training out on Cornerstone and working with L&D as well. We still haven't finalized what that will look like, but we will be communicating that way ahead of time for the organization, as it is a active participation open enrollment.
Thank you, Charmaine. I have like 2 quick questions for Candace. I know she answered it, but like we like to let everyone else hear the answer. Candace Goldstein, I believe. It says, I was trying to access Cornerstone for the past 3 weeks, but I have not updated. Someone else wrote a question. I took the Paylocity training, but it wasn't updated in Cornerstone. Candace, could you speak to that real quick if you were on the line?
If Candace isn't on the line, Jamie, oh, she can't unmute.
She can't unmute her. Let me see.
So I was going to ask if you could unmute her.
There you go, Candace. You should be.
Thank you for unmuting me. Okay, so I did reach out to that individual, and I will reach out to our HR systems team to figure out why they're not able to get into Cornerstone. It might be a username issue, but I will help them resolve that. Is that Charles, I believe?
Yes.
Okay, great. I do have that. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Candace, can I ask just a follow-up question? I know that
Sure.
folks there's been a couple questions in there about that staff have taken training, but it may not be seen. I do know that there were some manual things that we had to do with some training. So I wonder if you can speak to that as well.
Sure. So a couple of things. Yes, there were some manual attendance entry that we had to do based on some of the Zoom reporting. Also, if you attended a training in a group setting, please make sure to email your name to RHD Cornerstone, because the Zoom will only capture the individual that actually logged the team onto the meeting. Additionally, we've come across some Zoom usernames that are just staff or a no name. So again, if you feel that you were not given attendance for a session that you did in fact attend, please email RHD Cornerstone, and I will make sure that you get attendance for that session.
Thanks, you for that, Candace.
I hope that answers everything.
Yeah.
Somebody just requested about the supervisor training.
Yeah.
For Paylocity. That is in Cornerstone. I can, if you search for it in the search bar, I'm happy to, reach out to Mandy. Anybody else that needs that link, I can send it to them as well.
Thank you for that. All right, we're going back to some Paylocity questions. It says, maybe Charmaine or Kate, will Paylocity follow the 8-minute rule? Meaning if my time starts at 9 a.m., if I clock in at 9:06 a.m., it will turn round to 9 a.m. Or does Paylocity log actual time only?
If Bernice or Kevin are on the line, I would defer that to them.
Okay.
I believe the rounding rules, I don't know the amount.
Bernice or Kevin, are you?
Sorry, I wasn't able to unmute.
No problem.
Hi, everyone. It's yes, we're still going to follow the same 7-minute rule that we have now.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. That should be all for me right now. I can come back to you, Stacy or Sarah, if she has me.
Yeah, I have some more questions on my end. So let's see here. This is a question I think it's good for Marco. RHD very much works in silos. What is being done to make sure everyone is on the same page?
Thanks, Sarah. Another great question. Appreciate whoever did submit that. So, you know, historically, we've been a decentralized organization, community-based organization, and I think at times, yeah, we do find ourselves working in silos. Unfortunately, I think this is also how the industry has operated in some ways is also continuing to operate. And as we've talked in terms of service delivery, the need to integrate, I think we could see that same opportunity need to do that in the work that we do. Our values would suggest that that's what we're doing, right? That we're collaborating, that we're working together, that we're inclusive, and that we are bringing those multiple perspectives to the table to accomplish what needs to be done, which should lead to ensuring that we are on the same page. Together we're better, right? No doubt. So the question being asked in terms of what is being done to make sure that everyone is on the same page, I want to flip that question a little bit and hopefully still answer it in that what can we do to ensure that everyone is on the same page? Because I think we all have an opportunity to work in our roles and in the work that we do and how we interact with each other and what we take responsibility for to ensure that we are all on the same page. So I just listed out a few things here that I could share with you. We could probably spend a whole meeting on this question alone, and you know, welcome additional dialogue as we need to. But the thoughts that came to my mind that I'll share with you, our internal communications team are very intentional about how we communicate. So email is extremely important. We all need to read email, no matter what your role is. You need to make the space for staff to read email. That's how we can ensure everyone is on the same page. Know your leadership. Expect information from your supervisor, no matter what your role is, and question to get that information. You can't do what you are being asked to do if that information is not being communicated. Again, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your role is within an organization, whether you are a supervisor or a DSP or manager, director, or even an executive. Get what you need in order for you to accomplish the work that you're doing. And I think sort of going along with that, we need our supervisors and leadership seeking out information, right? Listening, sharing information with teams. Everyone needs to be curious and asking questions. It's a common theme that you're hearing from me today. We need to embrace question authority. Again, not the person, but remembering that everyone has a level of authority that is valuable in the work that we do and how we accomplish our work. And the last is really address the siloing directly. When you see that things are siloed and are having an impact, unpack that experience so we can learn from it. You know, take that concern and that frustration, ask the questions so we can learn from it. So we're a large organization, complex organization. You know, it will always be challenging to make sure everyone is on the same page, but these are just some steps that I thought could help us maximize on this opportunity. Welcome additional dialogue, but those are the thoughts I would share with you today. And if I totally missed the question, again, feel free, whoever asked it, to reach directly out to you.
Thanks, Marco. I can just keep going with questions. Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're probably one or two more.
Okay. This is a question for Alicia. Alicia, you're getting a lot today. Will we be implementing a performance management component to ensure raises are consistent and fair?
There we go. There's that unmute button. Sarah, let's not. I always get a lot of questions. I love it.
You always do.
Always do.
You're very popular, Alicia.
Oh my, that girl, huh? So let's stay on track. That's on trend for the conversation we're having. This Paylocity system has extreme functionality and capability, and one of those are performance management. So the answer is yes. There are many future things to come within Paylocity, including scheduling, performance management. We already talked about benefits. The ability once and for all to have all employees be able to enter their profile so that whenever opportunities come up, we already know who in the organization has certain qualifications and credentials. Those play in a lot of different ways. So absolutely, we need a system that allows us to be able to have that expanded capability in a fair and consistent way. I stand for nothing if I don't stand for fairness and consistency. So I agree 100% with whoever asked that question. I appreciate anytime employees understand through their questions or their statements, they understand that that is the goal. Fair and consistent is our standards and approaches. So yes, we will be headed in that direction. We are taking this Paylocity implementation one step at a time. So we are starting simply with time and attendance, which you're used to. We'll then be moving to benefits. We'll then be moving to scheduling. We'll then be moving and so on and so on and so on. So we're going to be on this ride, as Marco said, 12, 14 months out. We're going to be in this, what do you call that? That spaceship taking us to the stratosphere. We're going to be on this for a little while now. So buckle up and get ready and enjoy it. It's exciting.
Alicia, I have a quick question. It was in the beginning of the meeting, and because you're here, I'm going to ask you real quick. Last time you raised minimum wage, some employees received a raise. Isn't this unfair to those who did not receive a raise, as other people's salary are dependent on education and experience? Could you give clarity to that question?
I will try. I think that there's a lot of moving parts when it comes to compensation at RHD. So what is being asked about is RHD establishing a standard for minimum wage. And at the same time, I'm sure some of my executive counterparts will also attest to the fact that there are certain additional compensation changes made by either a position, by program or region. Bernie and Linda probably can speak to that a little bit more. But our standard for compensation is what our corporate compensation initiatives have been, trying to raise the floor. For those of you that do remember, those of you who don't, is trying to raise the floor, meaning the lowest that any RHD employee will be paid. And so that was where our minimum wage work began, as well as some of the other work in terms of benchmarking, but that's where we began. There are some other programs in areas and regions where DSP wages and minimum wages have been raised beyond what we as a whole entire corporation, based on their funding, so on and so forth. So there is not one set minimum wage, although there is a standard floor that everyone's must at least meet. So I don't know that that answers the question, because I think that that's very specific. The question is very specific to, if you're in, Boston, or if you're in IDD, or, there are some things that above and beyond our corporate minimum that those particular areas, those leaders and finance teams have been able to do and have requested and been given permission to do. So I don't know that I maybe answered that specific question.
Thank you for that, Alicia. We could probably get more clarity if they send some more. But Sarah, do you have another question? If not, I can.
Actually, David, I think that we're going to need to, is it something? Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to need to move forward. Any questions that we didn't get to, we'll make sure that we follow up on those questions. We'll capture those and we'll save the chat and all that good stuff. But I want to make sure that, we're respectful of everybody's time today. And okay, great. Thanks, Sarah. So I am going to turn it back over to, I want to thank everybody first for for sharing your questions in the chat, for it feeling safe enough for you to do so, and for sharing your voice. And thank you to all the presenters and subject matter experts that provided questions to those. Look forward to the town hall next week. So as you are in the system for Paylocity, please come to that. We'll have a special segment on that and more information to come there. So with that, I am going to turn it back over to Mary for the closing video, and then we'll have some closing remarks from Marco.
I gotta go. I have a meeting with Dean Baroness in the yard for a faculty step challenge. Thanks for attending RHD. You already know.
I love my hair. My hair is curly, my hair is pretty, and I always wear my crown, and my hair is me.
Sitting here at my vanity, I love to practice self-care. I paint my nails, put on my earrings, and brush my hair. My absolute favorite way to pamper myself is with my lip gloss collection across my top shelf.
It's a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here.
Amazing. I think that is the word for the day. We started off with Sesame Street, folks coming together in the community. And we're going to end the day with the word of the day of amazing. I want to thank everybody who participated, who led our conversations, who asked great questions, who prepared great presentations, and the amazing work that is being done from all corners of RHD, from a service delivery perspective, from an administrative perspective. Again, there's so many awesome initiatives and so much exciting work happening within our organization. And I think we saw evidence of today, in the beginning and in the end and in the middle of why we do what we do and why the work that we do is so incredibly important. What I would ask is everybody remember our first date for Punch in Paylocity. Everybody know what it is? Put it in the chat if you know what it is. Give you a hint, it's in March. There you go. We have lots of winners, although today is no prizes, and I apologize. Lots of winners. So March 19th, our first Punch in Paylocity. If you haven't done training, please do so. It's really important. Whether you're a supervisor or not, everybody should participate in training. Really important. I'm going off script here, so my apologies, because I realized my script wasn't going to work today, considering all what we've been focused on. And I will just end with you all today with the thought that I started you with, in that it is incredibly important for everyone to participate in our culture, to use your voice. There's so much going on and so much that we all can impact, and we all have experiences. We all have authority to share that allows us to contribute to the great work that we're doing every day. So no doubt, together we're better, and we're not going to achieve that if we're not all participating in our culture. So challenge us, ask us the hard questions, keep them coming, but also do your part in participating and helping us understand what you need. So with that, I'll end us. Appreciate everyone's effort, appreciate everyone's hard work, appreciate everyone that is out there today doing the great work that we do at RHD. Have a great rest of your day, everyone, and thank you for attending.